Welcome back, friends, to Car Mechanic Simulator 2021 and Episode 4. The tentative goal for today's episode is to reach level 5 so that I can show you the difference in the Junkyard through the quality of life mod as opposed to the real game. Now, last game I had mentioned we had a choice between the Honda S2000 mod and a Mercedes DLC car. Due to some things that I have learned since that episode debuted, I was unable to get comments on what car to use, so I decided to go with the Honda S2000. With that being said, we're going to come into the garage, and we are currently at level 4. See if we have any points to spend, and we do not. So we have a Nissan GTR on the lift, and let's see what this car needs. Okay, so we're looking at brake system. ABS pump will be easy enough to get to. Just pop the hood, click on the engine, and pan the camera around. And the second piece will be your ABS pump. I am going to hold on to that pump because I know it can be repaired once I get the repair station. And now to go to electronics, and we buy the ABS pump. Go into assemble mode, put the new pump in, the ABS module back on, and that part is done. Now we need a caliper, a ventilated disc, and 2 pads. Let's get this in the air. And let's buy our parts. We need a caliper, brake disc ventilated, and 2 pads. Now, since last episode, I have added the BMW DLC, as well as the Dodge, Plymouth, and Chrysler DLC. That has added 13 new cars to the game and 11 new engines, which we will see as time progresses. I want to give a shout out to all my new subscribers, and hopefully you enjoy these videos and will leave likes, comment, and share your thoughts. You may notice that I just abandoned the assembly on that crate, and that's because that was not the caliper that needed to be changed. though I still probably could have used it for whatever caliper does need to be changed. Sometimes the game can be touchy and wants to make sure that you put the brand new or repaired part where it's supposed to go. So in this case, I wanted to make sure that it would register that the new part went where it was supposed to go. And we still have one set of pads to change, so we know where that is. And of course, last but not least, we are going to do our inspection, gain us some more experience points. One thing some people do not realize about this game is that when you are in the junkyard, you can do you can do the same inspection process on all the vehicles in the junkyard. You can also do this inspection process on all the vehicles that are in the car auctions. And it all helps to level your experience up. So for new players, I highly recommend doing these inspections, as it doesn't take all that long and it helps level you up quicker. And as I level up my skill points, this process will get quicker. Okay, and with that, we are going to go ahead and move this GTR on outside. Just do a quick rotation process. And we shall send this GTR on its way and make $1,800. Oh, and look at that. One of the new Dodge DLC cars has already showed up. So we'll go ahead and take this, even though it's just a brake job. Because I have something else to talk about in this video. If the hot rod inside... Okay, I stand corrected, it's not a hot rod. That was the previous episode. We'll go ahead and start with the inspection process on this Mercedes, just so we can get it out of the way. But that Challenger will be the perfect instrument for my second topic. And I think we'll bring that Challenger in earlier rather than later. Okay, so just by looking at this, we already know one part we're going to have to change out, and that is the fuel filter, noted by this red. As we have not yet looked at the work order for this car, this one could be a simple matter of just changing out that fuel filter and sending it on its way. But we will find out here shortly. Let's go ahead and pop its hood. We'll bring up the work order. It wants all three filters changed: fuel, oil, and air. So we're going to come here, take this cover off. We're going to add this filter to our shopping list, pan the camera around, add the fuel filter to our shopping list, and let's take a look, see if we can't find where the oil filter is. It's right there, so we're going to have to get that from underneath the car. Let's hop back into our shop, bring up our shopping list, buy these two parts, and go ahead and install them. And with that, we can get out of the engine bay, drop the hood, put the car on the lift. With the car in the air, let's come over here to the driver's side, click on the wheel. Let's add this oil filter, buy another one. We'll take the oil filter off and replace it with a new one. And that, my friends, is car number 2 complete. As you can see, and we're only going to make 122 credits. Let's bring it down as you would in real world situation. And we'll juggle our cars around once more. And we'll send the Mercedes on its way. Once again, we'll check our board. Oh, now here we go. Get another DLC. I stand corrected. We have a Plymouth mod car, and this is going to be engine and timing. Let's go ahead and take this car, because we just did a GTR. And let's check our inventory. Oil filter, fuel filter, air filter, brake pads cannot be repaired. So we'll go ahead and sell them. Brake shoes, may be able to. It's been a while. Ignition coils cannot be. Belt tensioners cannot be. But I will keep that I4 oil filter because it is 65%. Once more, we come in. And let's take a quick look at the work order for this. This is a story order car. So before we get started, and as you can see without doing any inspection yet, we're going to have to replace this radiator. We're going to have to replace that belt, replace that idler pulley. We're going to have to replace that alternator, the oil filter, the starter, the ignition wires, and the fuel filter. So, let's just continue with the inspection and see what happens. And just inspecting this car should give us the points we need to level up. And just like that, we are level 5. So we have already hit the goal that I wanted to make for today, at least the first one. Oh, and we're going to need a fuel pump. Okay, and this examination complete. Let's go in here, add the fuel pump, and we'll just go ahead and pull that out. And we'll come in here. First things first, because we know we're going to have to pull the radiator, we're going to drain it. And we'll add that to our shopping list. Pull that. Serpentine belt A is going to need to be replaced. We'll add that. The alternator. Idler roller. And the other belt, we'll add the water pump as well. And before we forget, add the ignition wires, the starter, and the fuel filter. Now let's go in and read. It says, "Good morning. Hello, young man. Please help me. I set off on a ride and my car stopped working. It just shut down suddenly. Fortunately, some good young man towed me to your workshop. If it wasn't for them, I'd rather not go into it. Please see what you can do and get it up and running again. I have no idea what could have happened. Usually everything was working just fine after a 6-month break. Thanks for setting up a workshop." Now this also wants us to change the oil, brake fluid, coolant, and power steering. So we'll drain the brake fluid and the power steering fluid. Though personally I believe this car is a little too old to have power steering fluid, but I could be mistaken. And because one of our tasks is to change the oil, we'll get the car up in the air and get that drained. while it's lifting. Let's see, we have 2 available skill points. We'll put 1 into faster examination. And we'll want to put the other into movement. Now, as we have 7,000 credits, what I would like to do is come in here and I want to get the electronic multimeter so we can test fuses. And we'll leave it at that for the moment. We'll buy our tools as needed. And this car requires 75% minimum. So unfortunately, the I4 filter that we have will not work. But we'll buy the stuff that we do need. Electrical. Electrical. And as we check our 2 pages, you can see here we're going to need spark plugs as well. We're going to need a relay type B and a relay type A. So we're going to go back into here. We're going to need these 4 of these, 1 of these, and 1 of these. So we can start with the reassembly process. And for a story order car, this is actually a very simple one. We're going to once again go in here and we're going to pull these spark plugs out. And then we'll switch over to assembly. Now, for those of you new to the game, spark plugs are yet another part that cannot be repaired. We need to change out the belt tensioner as well, clutch plate and release bearing, and timing belt. I overlooked those. So before we go too much further, let's pull this. Add the belt tensioner, timing belt, and the cam gear. And we can go back to assembly mode. That's why it's always helpful to check your work order status multiple times during a car fix, because there may be extra tasks or parts on there that you didn't catch the first time around. And then it would be bring the car back into the shop, tear it all down once again, though in the game it's not that hard. In real life it would be a tedious process. And we're going to come back here, click on the rear suspension, go into assembly mode, and put in the new fuel pump. So, in order to change out the clutch plate and the release bearing, we are going to have to put the car back in the air, pull the drive shaft, the transmission, and of course we have to pull the starter in order to pull the transmission. So, let's get that starter back out of there and get this car back up in the air. First things first, highlight the drive shaft. And we'll pull the gearbox or transmission. This is your release bearing. We'll add that. And underneath this is your clutch plate. And we'll add that. Go in, buy each of these two pieces. And we'll go back. Drop the car down one more time. We're going to come into the engine bay. And because we have that new tool, we're going to give it a run and get ourselves some extra experience points. And we come over here, take the fuse box cover off, and then we just look at the bottom left corner, and it'll tell us which of the two relays we need to change. Change those. It's reminding us we gotta put the starter back in. And now you see it's all grayed out. That means everything has been completed. And this one will gain us 2,600 credits. So we will drop the hood. And this is where I'm going to switch this out for the Dodge Challenger. We'll send this one on its way. Now, we have the Volkswagen Jetta, which we've already worked on. This is one of the new DLC cars, which is suspension. And this is a base game. In the base game, it's called the Hanada Moon. But that is a mod car. For this episode, we're going to take the new BMW 5 Series. Come into our inventory. Everything you see on this page is not savable. We're going to go through and just sell all this. We'll come back in here. And now, because we are level 5, we can make a quick run to the junkyard. Please bear with me. My PC is a little slow loading. Okay, so we are now in the junkyard with the quality of life mod, and I have gone in and I have changed the preset for the quality of life mod to where all available spots in the junkyard will be filled. In base game, you are lucky to have 3 to 4 cars spawn. This is a base game car. Looks like a Dodge Viper. QOL mod will tell you this is a Dodge Viper. In game, it's the Ecos Cobra. This is a mod car. It is the Hot Wheels Bone Shaker, I believe. Yes, it is. This is another in-game. No. This is the new Nissan Z. I believe is also a mod car. It is. Here we have another mod car. 458 Italia. Nope, 458 Special. So that's 4 cars right there. Come back here, we just got done working on one of these. This is base game. So we walk over here. This is also base game. But quality of life labels it the 65 Cadillac Eldorado. Over here we have the Mustang, which is from the Ford DLC pack, so we know that's actually correct. Again, another base game car. It's going to tell you it's a Chevy Camaro. This is a mod car. 22 Ford Mustang Cup car. This is the in-game car. This is the Sakura Supa. Though the quality of life relabels it the Toyota Supra. This is another base game car. Though the quality of the life mod will tell you it's a Honda Civic. Mod vehicle, Dodge Grand Caravan, Hellcat Edition. Here we have a DLC car, Nissan Fairlady Z. This is another DLC car, but it is not actually the Ferrari F50. That one came with the Drag Pack DLC. Here we have another DLC car, 16 BMW M4 GTS Special Edition. Just out of curiosity, they want $15,000, which we can't afford. Another Volkswagen Jetta. This is another base game car. Almost $10,000. Again, we cannot afford it. This is a base game car, or a mod car. And it's McLaren F1 GTR Longtail. This one is going to be hundreds of thousands. 610,000 precisely to buy from the Junkyard. But after full restoration, you're looking at between 15 and 17 million credits. This is a mod car, RS6 Avant from Audi, 2020 Toyota Supra mod car, the Emden Jaguar, aka Volkswagen Golf Mark II, I believe it is. This one is actually a mod car, and we could afford to buy it, but it would leave us with very little money. It will appear again, so we'll leave it for now. That one we looked at. There's nothing down there. And then there's this beast. This is actually a base game vehicle, but I must have a mod installed that gives it the 4x4 capabilities. Interesting, but we'll leave it. And the last car in the junkyard, it's a mod. And that, my friends, is the difference between the base game, where you only get 3 to 5 cars, and the QOL mod, which gives you all those options. Now, we are going to return to the garage. That is also part of the QOL mod. Now, as we come back, the reason I chose to bring this car in, because it needs brake work, and because this car is guaranteed to have drum brakes. I specify that because just last week I was talking to a couple of coworkers, and I had happened to see that one of my coworkers' cars had drum brakes on it. After speaking to him, I found out his car was a 2018, and I had to scratch my head. He asked me what the difference between drum brakes and disc brakes were. Well, for my coworkers who do not know, I gave a simple explanation, but for them, this part of the video is for you. When dealing with drum brakes, this is what you will find. The outer hub is called the drum, and inside you will see these. These are your brake shoes. These are what stop your car. And then usually right in this area there's a pin that allows those shoes to pivot back and forth. And then there are springs all over the place to return the shoes to their position. We are going to take a quick look at the order. So it needs shoes on both sides. ventilated disc and caliper. So we will change these out. Lucky. No, unfortunately, we didn't get lucky, but it's still more experience points. Sorry. And with that Dodge Challenger's tasks are complete. But we are not exactly done yet. We are going to proceed with our testing to get as many experience points as we can. Okay, so we can back out of there. Go to examination mode. And with that, we will move the Challenger out. And send it on its way. We have a choice of the Hanada Moon MK2 or Ford Mustang 40th Anniversary Edition GT. Leave your opinions on which car we should do next in the comments. And if you liked what you saw, please subscribe, like, comment, and share this video. And with that, my friends, I will call this a video end. Good night.